FX Nation, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. And in this video guys, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at a chart, one of these charts, and we're gonna break it down as far as how to find the levels on a specific pair. And I wanna show you guys the process that I go through to basically break down these charts and to try and figure out what level I am on any chart. It doesn't matter what chart it is. All right, so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to deep dive into finding levels on any chart. So without further ado guys, let's get this started. So at the very beginning, this is something that you want to have done before, obviously, like London session or New York session, whatever session you actually start out with. All right, so this is something that you do on your offline time. You're not doing this right before you take a trade or anything like that. That way, because you want this already done, and that way you can start to continue and add on and edit the levels as price action develops and you get new data every single day. All right, let's take a look at a pair. Let's take a look at Euro CAD. And what I normally like to do on any pair, especially let's just say Euro CAD here, is let's go ahead. We're going to go on to the 1 hour chart. All right, and let's see what we have here. The first thing that I want to try to do is I want to try to find either a peak formation high or peak formation low. That's it. That's my first job, right? Typically on this particular pair, you want to know what is the average daily movement on this pair. What's the average daily movement? Because knowing the average daily movement on a daily basis on this pair will help you determine what is the accurate peak formation high or low is, and then also as well help you determine when you could possibly get a reversal. The way that I like to do that is you can go to this website here. So you can go to this website here. This is the Forex volatility calculator, and this basically already tells you precisely what is the average pip movement per day on this particular pair. So in this case, Euro CAD is 98.30 pips. So about 100 pips a day is generally what it moves. This is automatically set to 10 weeks out. You can change it to whatever you want to. I just keep it at 10. I don't change anything. Just keep it as simple as possible. So now that we know we're about, about 100 pips or so per day, typically a full cycle or 3 levels of rise or drop, you would have 3 times its own average, so 3 times ADR. So you would basically be looking for a reversal start looking for reversals around 300 pips or so, in this case for Euro CAD. Now, is this a perfect science that every single time it gets to 300 pips it's going to reverse? Absolutely not. And so I think this is what sometimes confuses a lot of traders, is the fact that they just expect it to turn on a dime once it gets to 300 or whatever that number is for your specific pair. And that's just not, the reality is that's just not the case. Okay, that's just not how this works. All right, the most common things that happened that I've seen is that it goes 2.8 times, 3 times, 3.5, hell, even up to like 4.5 times ADR. You're gonna see these things that vary, obviously, because if it was very cookie cutter, we'd all be millionaires, right? Let's start this out. So what's the obvious point here that you'd want to start out with? Where's the closest peak high or low that you can point out on the chart that you can start with? Well, for me, I'm just going to start marking where I think the lows and highs are, just to get me started, right? So here's what I think is a low. Here's what I think is a high. Now, how do I verify this? Well, I simply just, find out how many pips is it from low to high. This is around, 467. So 467 pips is what this is. Okay. So what this tells me is obviously we're well over 300 pips. You're going to be in the range of about 150 pips or so per day if you're averaging 467 per cycle, let's say, right? What does that mean? Well, it means that depending on who you are, you could see it very many different ways. Okay. The way that I could see this happening is I could see this as being one level, obviously, because it's consolidating back and forth, back and forth. I could see this as another level, and then this would be your peak high here. Okay, so basically from here to here, 467, that is basically what? 467 is about 4.5 times ADR. Okay, that's what I'm going to base it off of here. So I'll just do this here. I'll do this like this, and then I'll put (4.5 times ADR). And this is the way I do it. You could do it however you want to. All right. So we know we have obviously 3 levels of rise and then reverse. So now, what about this down? About 432. So about 4 times ADR or something like that. So does it make sense though for you to have, let's say, levels, right? Do the levels match up? Can you get 3 levels? So for me, this would be one level. This would be another level here. That would be another level. And right here would possibly be peak formation. I'm anticipating essentially this to be a peak formation low. So I normally would put this right there. So I just know that it's potentially a peak formation low there. And then I typically like to put the arrows in just to keep me on track here of what's happening. And so once you have a lot of this already built out, you can literally just copy and paste a lot of it and then just make the small edits that you need. So like that. Okay. So far, that's what I have. Now, this is, think about it, this is only literally like this piece, right? This is only like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 weeks. Okay. But in order, just because I have this correct, the question becomes that you should ask yourself, because it's great that you have this part here done, but does this actually, can you retrace back essentially to make this fit the rest of the way back up, let's say, because this was going all the way back up. So can you make this fit all the way back up, and can you really reverse engineer this to where when you get down here, this is actually, you know, a peak formation low. And so that's what I like to do, because that basically like guarantees me that I'm doing it right and that I'm on the right path. Because what good is it doing this piece here if when you try to go back and reverse engineer it to make sure that this is right and it doesn't match? Then that means that you're counting level. This count here may look right here, but it's actually wrong in the bigger picture of things. Okay. If I take a look at this, I mean, this is pretty big here. So obviously we're going to have definitely some resets. That's definitely going to have to happen here. So let's start essentially counting this. So obviously for me, I'm going to say this is a low. I'm going to say that this is a reset. This potentially looks like another reset. This potentially looks like another low. And again, I'll verify this with the ADR. So let's see what we have here. So from here to here is about 253 or so. So this is about maybe 2.8 times or so ADR. So I'll just do this here like this. And then this actually is a reset too. So I'll put peak formation high / reset. And then what you can do if you want to, if you really want to take the time, you can literally count out the levels on here as well. I normally just care about getting from here to here because the levels in here now don't matter for me. But let's just get this part of it done here. What is from here to here is 567. So clearly way too much, or way too big, I should say, right? How are we going to combat this or count this out? Let's start from here to here, 393. That has to be one for this to make sense. This is from here to here is another 271. So this is another reset here. This is another peak formation low here. From here to here makes sense. You have a reset from there. You can see this is another reset here too, because we're coming off of a low here. We only go up one level and then we drop. We break this particular level and then we go down. So that's a reset. So all right, let's keep going back. And so here, okay, well here we moved. Here's why I stopped marking it, so we can kind of see if we can actually match this up. So let's go from here, and then we'll go up to the peak here, which is 386. So that's about what, 4 times almost, 3.5 or so. So that does match from here to here. If you match it from here, it's 285. So you could break it down smaller if you want to. You could do this as a low. This is another reset actually right here. And then from here to here, you get 225. So it's like 2.5. So you could do it like that, or you can do it as one big one. It's completely up to you. I think the important part is that all of this, you can see, starts to match together. So even from all the way up here, you can start to see where everything just goes. And so what you could start doing is just start putting the level, these here, so you know what they are, like that. And so once you do this for a while, you kind of get used to it. But there. So you basically have now like a full-on going back, what is this, to January, to the beginning of the year, to current price action. And of course you can keep going back however further back you want to go, you know. But from January, you've already pretty much had the entire thing already laid out. So now, what does that tell you? It tells you that your level counting is correct. This part here, correct, matches, and it makes sense. So now what do you expect out of EuroCAD, for example? So for me, if I'm thinking that this is potentially a peak formation low, obviously I'm looking for buys. I'm looking for reversals. What I'm going to do during the London session is I'm just going to wait and see, do I get any kind of a buy setup? That's really it. Do I get a buy setup? A really good setup here, because of where the EMAs are, right here would be like a type 3 that pins to the 50. That could be a good option. I mean, it just really depends on how big this ends up being. But that is essentially what I would be looking for on this particular pair. But again, this level counting stuff, you want to do this before you even start, you know, kind of trying to see where you're going to go with your trade setups. So if you can do this stuff, you do this for like 5 of your pairs, or how many of your pairs you're actually trading, and you could just literally keep up with it as you're going. But it's hugely important. If you are very weak or not very strong at counting levels, doing this I guarantee you is going to make a huge impact on your ability to see levels, to see directional bias. Is huge. Because having a directional bias, knowing that you're at a potential peak formation low, gives you a bias of, hey, I'm looking for buys. So now you're expecting to see the perfect setup for you would be to see a buy here. And if that buy appears, if that pattern appears there during London or during US session, you feel a hell of a lot more confident in taking a trade to buy, because you've already counted the levels going all the way back to January and they all match and it's all correct. So why not? Why not? Okay. So if you do this for all the pairs that you're trading, it could be 5 pairs, whatever it is, do it for all your pairs that you're trading. I guarantee you it'll make a huge impact and a huge difference on your trading. But literally, this is what I do to the pairs that I trade. I break them down like this, and I just keep following them, and that's it. It's that simple. I don't complicate it. I don't worry about any other stuff. I just follow it, keep adjusting. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. I don't care. I just adjust and move on. That's it. Nobody's going to be perfect. You're going to be wrong a whole bunch of times. Get used to it. It's not a big deal. All right. So I hope that this video brought you some value as far as how to do levels on a chart. So try this out on your charts. Okay. Start by trying to identify a low, a peak high, and then verify, what the actual ADR is for the day, per day, for that pair, and then use that as a guide. Remember, as you see, it's not all perfect. What 4.54, 2.5, 2.7. As long as you're pretty damn close to 3, and as long as it makes sense. It has to make sense. If you're just doing it just to have it, there, and you can't count 3 counts down or whatever, then you're doing yourself a huge disjustice. All right. So guys, thank you so much. If you like this particular content, guys, like and comment below. Let me know that you like it so I can continue to make it for you. I can make videos like this literally every day. But if you guys don't comment, don't like it, don't share it, I don't know if you like it or not. So just let me know. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching the video, and have a great rest of your week.